We get it. Gift giving for your guy isn't the easiest thing in the world, especially for Valentine's Day. Also, yeah, there's only so many stuffed animals holding a heart a guy needs. But what if you got him the perfect gift that's also a gift for you? We're talking about a pair of the OG Perfect Jean, made with a super secret special premium fabric blend that is extremely comfortable and makes his butt look good. The Perfect Jean has fits ranging from athletic to slim thick to skinny. So whether running errands with a polo for the office or paired with a solid color tee and blazer for date night, the Perfect Jean always looks and feels good. And let's face it, if your man looks good, you look great. But what's a gift without a little savings for you? Use code PEROPOD, that's PEROPOD, on your first order at theperfectjean.nyc and get 20% off. Hey, Valentine's Day is about showing love, and we think 20% off your order shows just how much we love you. So this Valentine's Day, save 20% off a pair of the Perfect Jean for your man with code PEROPOD. It's the perfect gift.
Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 7 of Pero Let Me Tell You. Vegas mega concert of everyone we've ever known.
God, no, I was thinking the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. Well, but he's gonna be at that Vegas thing too.
Well, yeah, I mean everybody is.
Everybody is. I think we're gonna be there.
Well, welcome to episode 283, everyone.
Yes, sir.
283. I got it right?
You did get it right.
Welcome
off the bat.
to Pero Let Me Tell You, our second episode of the season. ¿Cómo está todo el mundo?
Yes, I think everybody's doing good.
It's February.
January's finally over.
January always seems long.
As people were saying, January was the longest year.
of 2024.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. Yeah, I always say it's St. Patrick's Day.
Oh no, we're already in Easter.
The dollar store already has Christmas stuff.
4th of July. 4th of July at least.
4th of July.
4th of July.
Yes. So, ¿cómo está todo el mundo? Yes. How was your January and February coming along now? Is everybody doing their taxes?
Well, everybody probably got their W-9s already.
Yes.
Yeah. So
W2s, W9s,
yeah.
1099s.
All the
impuestos.
Get the refund.
Todo impuesto.
Get that check.
I'm actually really looking. I mean, I always look forward to the Super Bowl, but I'm really looking forward to the Super Bowl this year because I love me some Usher.
This is true. This is true.
I've told you.
You've loved Usher since the start, really.
Yeah. And in my next life, I'm going to be Usher.
I mean, as long as Usher's done being Usher, I guess that's fine.
I'm going to be cool like Usher.
Okay.
I'm going to be, cool. Yeah, I love me some Usher. I'm really happy, though, that they picked him for the Super Bowl, not only because he's our same exact age. We share a birthday.
Oh, he's 15th.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Pero Usher was so popular like in our high school and like college years, and Usher was and is a shit. I mean that I'm happy that they're doing that because I feel that Usher's peak is behind him.
Yes.
So I'm happy that they picked him. I mean, the guy has the catalog, but what's your favorite Usher song?
I'm gonna go with Yeah.
I love Yeah.
Because I think Yeah is just like peak culmination of all Usher's powers.
The Confessions album was his peak, especially commercially.
Yeah.
I love Yeah. Yeah has a sample like very few songs has. I love Cause Baby Tonight the DJ's got us falling in love again. That's a great song. But if I have to pick one,
you're gonna go with classic Usher.
It's 7 o'clock on the dot. I'm in my drop top, cruising the streets.
To this day, if I ever ask anybody what time it is and they're like, it's 7 o'clock, I have to keep going on the dot.
Do you know how I sing that song?
How?
I get so into that song that when he does the rap, I'm like, they call me DARIENBOERG.
My God.
Tell me what you want to do with me.
Good Lord.
Why don't you hanging out like Jodeci?
Why don't you just do Jesus in there too while you're at it?
Well, I mean, he does spell his name.
That's true.
Usher Raymond.
That's true. And that's a long ass name.
I haven't done that song in karaoke in a while. So for those of you who have not been to karaoke with me,
which is the vast majority,
I I only do Usher in karaoke.
That's not true.
Well, I have done other people, but
You've done The Weeknd.
I did. Well, that's because they didn't have any Usher.
They didn't. Oh,
When we went on the cruise,
yeah. I didn't.
They
know
had no Usher.
Oh, I didn't know that was why you went Weeknd.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I'll do The Weeknd, of course.
Yeah.
But Usher is my go-to karaoke. I done a little Barry White one time. You gotta, you know the key with karaoke. Like, let's talk about this.
You got to read the room.
You gotta exactly.
You have to read the room.
Exactly. I'll never forget that we were on this cruise some years ago, and we went to karaoke like every night. And there was a specific night that I don't know if it's just because everybody decided to go or like a big group of people decided to go, that the most people in the karaoke room that day, they were either Latinos or they were black, and
Okay.
you were not going to get up there and do some country stuff.
No.
No,
don't. I mean,
so you got to read the room and give the people what they want, right? And I'll never forget that night there were like people who were singing like that song that Garth Brooks. I don't know a single Garth Brooks.
I got friends
in low places. And I'm like,
yeah.
dude, this is not gonna work. That's not gonna work for me. Like,
no, it doesn't work. You got to read the room.
That's the night that I did Barry White, because Barry White, like, everybody loves Barry White.
Yeah.
So I remember I got like in the middle of the room and I'm like, everybody come to the stage, and everybody came to the middle of the stage and they started singing with me Barry White. And yeah, there was a night though that I was with, it was a group of us, and I was with one of my friend's husbands, and we did No Shoes, No Shirt, No Problem by Kenny Chesney, and you could probably figure out who it was.
I know exactly who that was.
And I was like, sure, they have the lyrics to it. I sort of know this song, but
I mean, the beauty of karaoke is you don't have to really know it. Yeah.
I mean, you are quite the karaoke superstar.
I tell people, I am not a singer. I am a performer.
Right.
And so I leave it all on that karaoke stage.
I remember we did karaoke. This was like 20 years ago. I don't even know this. Some place in Homestead.
Oh,
that you did Slave for, was you did either did Slave for You or
I did Slave. No, Slave.
And this was like a family friendly environment, and he went and did like the most explicit version of Slave for You, and I'm like, there's children watching. Like,
listeners, people,
okay, you were feeling the beat.
People came out from the kitchen to see what was going on.
Yeah.
Like the staff came out to see
And
what was
then
going on.
that night, I specifically remember I followed up with Usher.
Yes.
You remind me of a girl that I once knew. I see your face whenever. Yeah, so it's Usher's my go-to. So what's your go-to karaoke, listeners?
Usher makes sense for Vegas.
For like the Super Bowl,
For the Super Bowl being in
or like
Vegas.
a Vegas residency.
Well, both, but the Super Bowl being in Vegas, Usher makes sense.
Yeah, well,
because Usher is a showman, and that's what you go to Vegas for, the spectacle, So it makes sense to me.
I mean, let's not hate on JT, although everybody's hating on JT. But I remember when Justin Timberlake was like really at his peak, and I liked me some Justin Timberlake too. But I remember people were comparing him to Usher. I'm like,
No, it's very different.
No. I mean, listen.
Each is talented in their own
Justin
right.
Timberlake had some good bops, and I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
You can't deny them. That second album of his, Future Sex Love Sounds,
That's good.
that album is great, and that song, My Love.
Yeah.
Nobody gonna compare myself, my love, so don't give away my love. That song is like awesome.
It's bomb.
That song is fire. Como dicen the kids
say.
now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't compare Justin
No.
Timberlake. And that's not to take anything away from Justin Timberlake. It's just that Usher, to me, is the closest to Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And I'm not comparing him to Michael Jackson, so don't come at me. Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson.
Right.
But if we were to say what performer
Has that
is
essence.
is the closest to Michael Jackson, I would say Usher.
Yeah, Usher makes it look effortless.
It's like I just walk this.
I just walked out of bed. And
I'm just Usher.
Yeah, I'm just Usher, and this is just what I do. This is how I roll.
How you roll. So anyway,
Lord.
well, how are you?
I am doing okay. I actually I'm a little tired right now, but that's because of you. Because listeners, so I was having a poopy couple days, and Darian called me earlier today. He's like, "Get here earlier. I'm gonna make dinner." and he made my favorite thing to eat in the whole wide world.
Two of your favorite things.
Yes. Well, but combined, it is like my favorite thing. It is chicken cordon bleu with rice pilaf. I swear to God, I felt like I was at the exclusive banquet hall in La Ocho y La 16.
That was the goal.
And I almost took your like centerpiece home.
You know what?
As the
You know
centro mesa.
what? You know what I should have put on to play while we ate?
Quinceañera.
Europa.
Oh, you should have. That would have completed it. That. Oh. Hindsight's 2020.
And we have a very good friend of ours who's a wedding planner who knows exactly, who's probably listening now, who knows exactly what we're talking about.
Oh,
There's
but
nothing
yes.
better than banquet hall food while you listen to Europa.
The only thing that would have made it better is if you had figured out how to make that piña colada that doesn't taste like
The
pineapple
terrible
or
piña
liquor
colada.
or ice. It doesn't taste like anything.
It tastes like synthetic.
Yeah.
But we still line up for it in the
Yeah.
bar to have it in the bad plastic cups.
It tastes like somebody was like, this is what I think piña colada looks like. I have no idea what it tastes like.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? I have to say that there's a part of me that wants to go to one of these banquet hall weddings again, or King's. It's been a while.
I think that for our 500th episode, we should do a banquet hall party.
You don't have to ask twice. Like, don't threaten me with a good
Because
time.
500, I think, is far enough, but close enough.
Oh my gosh! And we'll take our friend, the wedding planner.
Oh, no. Yeah,
We'll take
this is going to be like a whole thing. And we
Can you just imagine her like in the meeting? Like, okay, where's your cake from?
No. Actually, I don't want her there because she's going to try to class it up.
Oh, no, yeah. You're out.
Right. No, I want the banquet hall experience.
Yes, with like the big tacky bows on the chairs.
And then what we should do is
We get it like red or purple.
we invite all of our guests to be la corte.
Yeah, the centerpieces are like carnations,
Yeah,
like
totally.
the ones that are like vibrant blue.
Like, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it.
Yeah,
We're gonna go all in.
yeah. Oh yeah. The tackier, the better.
Absolutely.
With a DJ that like doesn't even speak English. That
Absolutely.
like
I want bows on the back of chairs. Like I want, and they've got to be tulle, not tulle.
Tool.
Yes, it's got to be tulle.
The audio systems of banquet halls are so crappy.
Oh, it's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be fan-fucking-tastic is what it's gonna be.
Oh, we could come out of a conch.
Oh yeah,
We have to have an entrance.
two conchs, one on each side of the stage.
No, I'll come out of a conch. You'll come out of a seashell like Venus. Is it the Venus?
The Venus de Milo, yeah. No, not de Milo, but Venus on the half shell.
Yes,
Venus on the half
yes.
shell, yeah. All right, so I'll start getting the wig now to just have it blowing like Beyonce.
We could have a court. Yeah, as you
Yeah, that's
said.
what I'm saying, the guests.
Our favorite guests could be
guests.
part of the court. Oh, we're putting Martha of Miami in there. That's like that's like her church.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think she'll be more excited than we are.
I think she's already helping us plan it. She may have already booked the hall.
And like Cuban bread shirts could be our party favors.
I like where all this is going.
We have to have almond mints in the.
I love those almond
Oh, I like
mints.
the almond mints too.
Those they're not almond mints.
The almonds and the
They're
shell.
called Jordan almonds.
Jordan almonds
Jordan
is what I
almonds.
mean.
Jordan almonds. Yeah,
Jordan
yeah.
almonds.
And again, more tulle.
Yeah.
Because they're in a packaging of tulle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. Listeners, 500's not that far away. If you
I mean,
think
we're almost
about-
at 300.
Right. That's why I'm saying it's close but far. So we got time to like make it happen.
actually, 500 is like
Next year.
500 episodes.
I mean, 300 is in a couple weeks.
Right. No, but 500 episodes is 2 episodes from now, so that's like 4 years. 200 episodes close to where we are. That's like 4 years. Yeah,
We'll figure it out.
we do 48 episodes a year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. Oh,
Math.
Fine. Math. Fine.
Math. So
Fine.
anyway, so what do you have going on this week for me?
Well, okay. So before we get into like topics, I wanted to share something that literally happened to me this afternoon, Fake Friday. So listeners, some of you may remember, and for those of you who are new, who just discovered us, because God knows our Instagram has been blowing up. So some of you are probably new. So welcome. Last year, we participated in Burger Beast's scavenger hunt, and part of it
Yes.
was we got gift
That was
cards.
so much fun.
It was
So much fun.
So much fun. Seth, you got to do another one. I'm sure it was a pain in the ass, but you got to do another one.
I wonder how many traffic violations.
It's best not to think about
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So we won, and part of it was that we got gift cards to a bunch of places here in South Florida, and we had a team, so we divvied up all the gift cards. And one of the gift cards I got, as you may recall, was for Cow Bakery.
Oh,
Now-
is there another story? Because this is like would be story number 3.
This is probably the best one.
Oh,
yeah.
So Gal Bakery is like the gift that keeps on giving in terms of the stories.
It really is. Yeah.
So Gal, thank you for providing
Thank you for
content and fodder on our podcast.
So
We love Gal Bakery.
We do love Gal Bakery. I'm leaving the gym and I'm on my way home in Corway and I'm like, ay, tengo hambre. I have my gift card in my wallet. It's been a couple months. For those who don't remember, every time I've gone with this gift card, nobody there knows how to use it. Nobody's ever seen it. Nobody knows what a gift card is.
And it's a Gal Bakery gift card.
It has Gal Bakery logo on it. Right. So it could not be any more branded if it tried. And that's actually going to play a part in this story today. Okay, so it is branded. Great. So I get there, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. It's been a while. Maybe they've had more experience with them now.
Sure.
So I get off, place my order. And when I I take out my wallet, I pull out the gift card. I notice that it's actually not the Gal Bakery gift card. It's actually the Cuban guy's gift card. So I pull it out and I'm like, it's the wrong one. I'm going to put it back in. And the lady behind the counter is like, no, pásalo. And I was like, no, es que es una tarjeta para un restaurante diferente. No, pásalo igual porque aquí pasan todas las tarjetas de los gift cards. I'm like, no, señora, pero esto no es de aquí, es de Cuban guys. No, si aquí pasan de todo, de Walgreens, de Walmart, de CVS, aquí pasan todos los gift cards.
What?
So I'm like, she takes it from my hand, she swipes it through, then she proceeds to tell me, no, parece que está expirado. I'm like, no, it's not expired, it's just not for here, right? So I'm like, okay, no te preocupes, I pay with my credit card. But all I can think of now is, has she passed gift cards? Like, what has she passed?
Well,
this is my question.
My bigger question is, you know how she said that, they passed other bakeries like Walgreens and all that, other places like Walgreens and all that stuff. Yeah. So they were able to pass those cards, but they couldn't pass your gift card from Cal when you took it twice. So a Walgreens, a CVS gift card, of course. But the Cal gift card, there was a small army, according to you, like previously.
People who had no idea how to do it.
But yes, we'll pass the Walgreens one at a bakery. Because that makes sense. I have a little antidote for you too, but...
Oh, God. Yeah, so all I can think of is, what probably happened is in the past, somebody probably went with one that's like a Visa gift card that has a picture or something. So it's not a Cal gift card. Mm-hmm. Or maybe even an EBT, because it's food. Maybe that was able to pass through.
They accept EBT at Cal?
The Latin America on A Street and Lejeune, is it? No, not Lejeune. A Street llegando
they accept EBT.
Ajá, ese mismo. They accept EBT cards, so it says outside. Like, así aceptamos EBT.
EBT.
But yeah, I was just like, this is wonderful. This is the pendulum swinging fully the other way. Like, this is... No longer are we not taking... our gift card. No, we'll take all of them. Wow. Yeah. The minute that it happened, I was like, I cannot wait. I'm so glad it's Fake Friday.
Wow. Well, I mean, I guess I'll share my little story.
I say go for it, yeah.
So, actually, you know what? This should be a segment. In today's Pero Let Me Tell You segments, things that happen only in Miami.
Yes.
So, this week, I got my hair cut, and I usually go to one of two barbershops, right?
Okay.
And one of the barbershops that I go to, which is closer to my house, is a more, I guess I would say, upscale one.
Okay.
Right? And then the other barbershop that I go to is the more less upscale one.
Okay.
Que todo el mundo está acabado de llegar de Cuba. But let me tell you something. These guys que están acabados de llegar de Cuba, they're hell of barbers.
They know how to cut hair.
Yeah. I want my barber not to speak English.
Like, I don't need to talk.
Yeah, no. I don't
okay.
want him. No, not that I don't want to talk to him. It's that if my barber doesn't speak English, if he only speaks Cuban Spanish, then I know he's going to be good.
That's
right?
true.
Right? Because these guys that just got here from Cuba, their barber skills are like on point.
That's true.
So anyway, I'm there, and I wasn't in a hurry, so I don't care. And the guy starts talking to... The guy first calls his family in Cuba because he was planning a trip to... This is the barber. He was planning a trip to Cuba.
Okay.
So then he starts calling his family in Cuba if they want to... If they preferred for him to get there like either Monday or Tuesday. Then he proceeds to call his travel agents to book because he had the ear pods, right?
Oh, okay.
This is while he was cutting my hair. He's doing the fade.
He didn't do a FaceTime.
And I'm not done with my story.
Oh.
And So then he calls the travel agent to go ahead and to book said trip with him and his daughter. But then the problem is that his daughter was born here, so they needed to get her the passport, but she didn't have a passport. Y algo de eso. But then he was like, no, pero call fulano because they'll get her a passport right away. And I'm like, who's fulano? Because like passport control takes weeks. But anyway, then they realized that they couldn't take the daughter, so he was going to take his niece, who did have the proper documentation. But then he called the charter airline to see how much the luggage was, and it was too expensive. So then he calls his wife to tell her to like put everything in another suitcase. This is all while he was cutting my hair.
This is wonderful.
To put it in another suitcase.
And you're taking notes.
Right. So then finally, he the thing with the video call, he calls his relative in Cuba on WhatsApp,
right,
on FaceTime, on video. And then I guess they were on another phone talking to his wife because his wife was showing the other phone in Cuba the bags that they should take, and then he was like hearing the play-by-play and telling them no, porque no, la otra bolsa, no, mami, la otra bolsa, dile que te enseñe la otra bolsa. And I'm like, this is amazing. My haircut took like an hour and 15 minutes, but I didn't care because all in that time I'm like, this is content, bro. You go, bro.
Keep going.
So then finally, when he got off the video, then he called back the airline to confirm the price, and then he called the travel agency or whatever to confirm, like book the actual trip. This all happened. This all happened while he was cutting my hair. And, I was getting like a partial fade. So, it was like all these razors. Right. So I was like, bro, you go. I'm not bothered by this whatsoever. But it's one of those
Talk about
things,
efficiency.
It's one of those things that like, I feel that that's uniquely Miami, that you're not going to go anywhere else where your freaking barber is planning his trip to Cuba while he did a great job.
I mean, you look great.
Yeah, he did a great job. So he had, he was
He's
multitasking.
He's focused.
He was the epitome of the Cuban hustle. He was
there
working while he was taking care of other affairs.
That is amazing. That is like done.
Yeah, that is a uniquely Miami thing because nowhere else in the world can your barber be cutting your hair while he called several people, including FaceTime.
Yeah, no, I don't care how urban your barbershop is. Yeah. That's next level.
Yeah,
that's
and you know how when he was on video, how he was cutting my hair? He was with one hand, he was holding the phone, and with the other hand, he was fading me up. It worked.
I mean, you look good.
It worked. I am mad at him.
You're not his first.
I tipped him. It's like,
did you tip him extra for the content?
Next time I'm gonna take him a Lechon Life t-shirt.
You should.
But let me tell you.
Give him a Lechon Life shirt. Absolutely.
So yeah, I was like, man, these are the little nuggets of joy that make me so happy to live in Miami. And then I was stuck in traffic.
And that, which is the nugget that you hate in Miami.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, yeah. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. We're well into the new year, and you're probably trying to figure out how to keep those New Year's resolutions. You know who could help with that? Our friends at BetterHelp. So often we focus on external factors when trying to make changes in our lives, when the key is actually improving our mental well-being. BetterHelp offers various customized therapy options like phone, video, text, or even live sessions, all with a certified therapist. Your mental health deserves to happen on your time, right? And BetterHelp can match you with a therapist in 48 hours, in most cases. And as a special offer for Pero Let Me Tell You listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/pero. It's already more affordable than in-person therapy. Now you can also save on your first month. Self-improvement isn't just a New Year's resolution, it's a lifelong journey, and BetterHelp can help you take the first step on that path. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/pero. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast episode.
So this week, there's so much bad going on in the world, so much, just that there was something this week that happened, unexpectedly took off, and I don't know if you heard about it, but it makes me so happy that it happened.
Yep. I actually responded.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So to our
this
listeners.
week, Sesame Street, which if you're not following Sesame Street on Instagram, follow them. It's like at this point, most of the Muppets have their own Instagram. Oscar the Grouch just joined this week.
Really?
Yeah, it's whoever's doing their social media. Actually, you know what? No, the Muppets are themselves. So the
Yeah.
Muppets are doing their social media.
We've
established this.
We've talked this
Yes,
about
yes.
it in several episodes.
Yeah.
When Miss Piggy goes on The View,
It's
to
Miss
me,
Piggy.
it's Miss Piggy.
It's Miss Piggy.
There's nobody under that table.
Yeah, it's Miss Piggy.
And she's ready to talk politics and pop culture and all
and
that
she
with
could-
the ladies of The View.
Listen, Miss Piggy could probably even solve Gaza if we give her
Yeah.
enough time. Elmo tweeted out, and then Sesame Street reposted it on Instagram and so on. It says, "Wow, Elmo is glad he asked." I'm reading the follow up. It says, Elmo learned that it is important to ask a friend how they are doing. Elmo will check in again soon, friends. Elmo loves you. So he had said
That's a follow-up.
That's the follow up one. Okay, let me see if I can find the original one.
The original one is just Elmo saying
just
hi.
like,
So it was
everybody's
it was
day
a
or something?
tweet. It was a tweet that
Yeah.
Elmo did. It was like a one-liner that it was like, oh, this is just Elmo checking
on
in
his
on
friends.
everyone, on
Yeah.
his friends.
How's everybody
That's it.
doing? Yeah, or
That's
something
it.
like that.
It was
Yeah.
like Elmo checking in on his friends.
Yeah.
That was it.
And
That was
with the
tweet.
hashtag emotional well being.
That was the tweet.
That was the tweet.
It. So, well, it's your
They
story,
got so many responses from people.
including from me.
I mean, and people, not just like, I'm good, Elmo. Like people like bearing their souls to Elmo. And and then all the other Muppets joined in, like Cookie Monster, which is my personal spirit Muppet.
But you know what, though? If there is a Muppet we're going to tell our problems to, it would be Elmo.
it would be Elmo because he's like, 3 years old.
He's Elmo.
He gets it. He understands, It made me happy. It made me cry. It made me I went through the whole gamut of emotions, just looking at that, and then the subsequent, other tweets from the other respective, Sesame Street crew. But what I thought was so fascinating about it is I'm trying to figure it out. People were so ready. I mean, well, and you responded, so maybe you can speak to it. So ready to just connect with Elmo, right? And I'm trying to figure out: is it because January is the longest year of 2024? Is it because we feel a connection to the Muppets? Is it because Elmo specifically just speaks to an innocence that we want to connect to again? I really do want to understand why the outpouring happened so strongly, because you can't, I've said this before. If you have a client who says, I want something to go viral, run away, because you can't force that type of reaction. And I mean, it makes me so fucking happy that it happened, but I'm just trying to understand the why.
Because I think that in terms of Elmo and what Elmo stands for, and the fact that it's a Muppet and it's a, it's a fictional character, there's a certain innocence and pureness to that. And I just think that on the most part, people are just so tired of the constant bickering and the constant conflict in everything. There's so many problems in the world. There's so many issues going on. There's so many people suffering. And in addition to that, social media is something that for many people, it's an escapism. It's, they use it to just kill time. They use it to be entertained. They use it to learn. And there's so much negativity everywhere. Even in the most benign things, like we've talked about it here. I go a lot on Instagram predominantly to look at recipes and to look at the food content, and it's all negative. It's people fighting about ingredients and recipes, and you stole this recipe and this is appropriation and you're doing it wrong. It's just a recipe, bro. Calm down. And I think that just people are just so heavy right now with everything in the world going on, with their personal lives, with all this negativity in social media, that the moment there's like a little light, a little moment of like pureness, people are going to run to it. And when I saw it, I have to admit, I responded when it was already trending.
Right.
I wasn't one of the first people. I didn't even think twice about what I tweeted. I just put it, and it was something I feel about every single day, like a struggle that I have daily. And I didn't think about it twice. I just put it there
Because you're talking to Elmo. in the most simple terms.
Talking to Elmo, but in again, a very pure and very innocent sort of outlet and escape. And I think that that's why people responded to it so well. People are just over it. And you know, this whole thing of Elmo, I think, opens up another conversation I wanted to have this week about all the heads of all these social media people were in Congress, were in the Capitol in DC. You know, the head, Mark Zuckerberg, head of Meta and Facebook,
CEO of TikTok,
the CEO of TikTok, of Snapchat, of
all of them.
All of them. They were all there, and they were all grilled, particularly to everything that has happened with children. Children that have been bullied, children that have committed suicide because they were bullied on social media, children that have been victims of sex trafficking, and all these social media companies know that this is going on, and they know this, and they've done very little, or if nothing at all, to prevent this. And they've known about this for quite some time. This is not new, and I remember that just a few years ago, Facebook, there was a prototype or something where they wanted to launch Facebook for children.
Yeah, or an Instagram for children.
Or an Instagram.
It was an Instagram for children.
So they know that this is going on. This has been going on for a long time, and they don't have anything about that. And, one of my biggest criticisms of social media is, and this is well known, this is not something they're hiding behind, this whole, like, we're not a news organization, we're just sort of like a third party. And the problem with that is that there needs to be accountability on their part, because, for example, which is really one of the things that bothers me the most about these social media platforms and companies, is that they purposely, based on the algorithm, put negative comments first on top. So it creates more engagement. That's why whenever you see any post that has a significant amount of traction or is trending, when you hit on the comment section, always the first comments that are on the top are negative comments. And this has a really big effect on people, because when this is all that you see over and over again, it really starts affecting people. And
many of us are addicted.
And back to what I was saying about, like, I use social media a lot for food content. That has a lot to do with what we do with Being Pampollo. And I look at what other people are doing and all that. And, like, dude, I can't look at a freaking recipe, at a freaking content creator that cooks, without having to go through a barrage of, like, negative comments of people fighting over the stupidest things and insulting each other. And it just makes you kind of, like, want to not be there. And yet there's so much rich content that you can use from there. And another thing that really bothers me is that a lot of these users that are creating these negative comments,
the trolls,
you could tell are bots, because they always, like, it never fails. You see a really nasty comment and you click on the user and it won't have a profile picture and it'll have 0 posts.
Yeah. And it's
a bot. It's private. It's a bot. You mean to tell me that all these social media companies don't have the technology to know that that's a bot and to stop it? You mean to tell me they don't know that? And yet this is having a profound effect on society. We can't talk to each other. We can't have any discourse. It's affecting, everything from, simple recipes to people sharing things, to politics, to knowledge, to education. It's affecting everything. And these companies are using our data for advertising purposes, right? And look, at the end of the day, it's very difficult to say, I'm not going to use social media anymore. Because, for example, we have a podcast. One of the biggest platforms that we have is Instagram. We have a chicken wing business. One of the ways that we promote it is through social media. So it's very hard to say, especially when your business surrounds through social media, which most businesses nowadays have a social media presence.
Because it's cheap and effective.
Right. It's very difficult to say, well, I'm not going to go down that route because my mental health is more important. It's very hard to say you're not going to do that because that's going to affect your business. So here we are. And yet these companies do nothing to safeguard this. In fact, they're the ones who in large part are causing this because of the algorithms and the things that they allow on their site to happen. So, this is something that is not going to end well. This is not going to end well. I don't know what the end result is, but we're not doing well with this. So to go back to your Elmo sort of comment, I think that's why this week people responded the way they did to that Elmo comment, because that was on Twitter. Yeah. Especially Twitter or X, which is like the cesspool of humanity. There was this pure sort of real moment that, yes, it was from a Muppet, but it sort of became something else that people were just tired. People were just tired, and they were expressing things and they were opening up to a Muppet. But I think that shows the mindset that just so many people are in, that we're just tired. We're tired of all this negativity, just being bombarded. We're being bombarded with left and right every single day. So
yeah, I mean, again, I'll say, listeners, if you haven't already, by all means, please follow Sesame Street on Instagram. It is such a wonderful little oasis of just simplicity and positivity in the midst of all the craziness. Like it's just nice to have.
So I have to tell you something I've been doing.
Okay,
I did this week. So there's somebody in my life that I'm very close to. I love very much, that I'm very close to, but they're just very negative. Right. And they're the type of person that every time they send me something, it's negative, or they forward me a DM, it's negative. Whenever I'm with them, we're there watching TV. Oh, look at this person. Oh, this sucks. It's never anything positive. And I said, and this was in part because of you, because of how you follow all these accounts of all the Muppets. I started sending him Cookie Monster posts.
Cookie Monster's the best.
So I was like, going, if Cookie Monster doesn't liven up your day, then I don't know what will.
Cookie's the best. Cookie is the absolute best. The other day he was talking about how even though he eats vegetables, he's not a yam. Sorry, me no sham.
You know what I think is incredible?
And I just love that he just said he's not unyame.
You know what I think is incredible about like Sesame Street and all these Muppets is they're very rudimentary characters.
Yeah.
Yet they have an extraordinary amount of depth.
They do.
Which is like insane.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, Elmo speaks in first person.
Then third person.
I mean.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're such rudimentary characters. Like, Oscar the Grouch, that's why he is. He's not Grouch,
Right, yeah. Cookie Monster is eating everything.
They're very one-lane characters, but yet they have such depth with how basic and simple they are.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Oh my God. You want to hear a Sesame Street fun fact? Mm-hmm. All right. We almost lost Big Bird in the Challenger explosion.
What do you mean?
Okay. When the Challenger, when they were first starting to put together the crew, the initial idea was to actually have Carol Spinney, who played Big Bird, he passed away recently, as Big Bird, be on the shuttle in an effort to get children more interested in the space program.
Oh no.
And the reason it didn't happen is because logistically the costume would not fit. Mm-hmm. And that is why Krista McAuliffe, the teacher, wound up on the shuttle, because
that's why we all watched it on TV live and were traumatized by it.
Okay.
That's cool.
Can you imagine the trauma if Big Bird had been on it?
Oh my God. We would have all had more PTSD.
We thought we were traumatized when Mr. Hooper died.
Yeah.
Big Bird blowing up in a shuttle. So that's the learn portion of today. And I looked it up because I heard it on a podcast. It was on history.com.
For those of us who are old enough to remember the Challenger explosion, I mean, we were really small.
Like what, first grade?
Yeah, we were already of school age.
Yeah.
And I remember, there was a teacher on the Challenger explosion. So
Krista
all
McAuliffe.
schools around the country were watching this live on television. And I remember that that thing exploded live on TV, and we all watched it. Like millions and millions of kids throughout the country were watching it. And I mean, it's just one of those moments you don't forget.
Yeah.
Like, we were so small, but you don't
Oh,
forget.
it's burned into my brain.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
where were you when that happened?
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, so, you know, Big Bird.
Thankfully,
you know.
Big Bird survived.
Right. So your favorite is
My favorite's Cookie.
Cookie Monster?
Yeah.
Cookie.
Yeah, I love Cookie Monster.
You know,
I follow him.
I have a couple favorites.
Well, I know one of your favorites is Grover.
I love Grover.
I know you love Grover. Grover is the author of one of my favorite books,
Which one?
The Monster at the End of This Book.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
Oh my god, I love that book to this day. I have a copy.
Yeah.
I read it, and it's just like it. I can't get over it. I love it. I want to turn it into a live action movie.
Near, far. The Grover's great.
He's wonderful.
He's great. I like Elmo too.
Elmo's fun. Elmo's cute. But the thing is, I didn't grow up with Elmo. So,
Right, yeah. Elmo was past our time. There was this Muppet that nobody remembers called Forgetful.
Forgetful.
Everybody forgot
Everybody
Forgetful.
forgot Forgetful.
Yeah, Forgetful. I used to love Forgetful.
And
He was
then-
like a cowboy that couldn't remember anything.
Oh, Forgetful Jones.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, I even brought in the last
And
name.
I loved those. It's a bicho that used to live in Bert and
Doodle
Ernie's garden.
Yeah, the Doodlebugs. Aw, I love the Doodlebugs. And then on the Muppet Show, I love Kermit.
Yeah.
I love Kermit. Kermit
Well,
is so soulful.
so with the Muppet Show one, you know who my favorite is?
Gonzo?
No.
It's not Fozzie.
No.
Beaker.
Beaker.
I
love Beaker.
Beaker. Oh, Beaker's wonderful.
I love when shit goes down with Beaker.
There's an episode where Beaker sings Strangers in the Night, and it is wonderful. Wonderful when he sings Strangers in the Night.
You know what's so funny about the Muppets? Oh, here we are talking about the Muppets. Pero let me tell you is that the Muppets ran in like the 70s, right? Like that version of the Muppets?
Yeah, the late 70s, early 80s. It was a syndicated show, yeah.
And I remember when we were kids, they would play repeats of that show,
Mm-hmm,
right? But what I really, really got into the Muppets were Muppet Babies.
Oh, well, yeah.
What was the name of the socks?
Nanny.
Nanny. Yeah, with her
Yeah.
socks.
Yep. She
It was, to me, it was the Muppet Babies.
Played by Mrs. Cleaver, Barbara Billingsley.
Yeah. And then there was the Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock. Oh,
Yeah. When we were
Fraggle Rock.
kids. But Fraggle Rock didn't have much of.
Okay, that was on HBO.
Yeah. Wasn't
Fraggle Rock was on HBO.
Pero Fraggle Rock the ponían en Canal 33 because I didn't have HBO growing up. And we used to watch it at the Funshine Festival.
Yes. So eventually, yes, it was syndicated, but it was like the premieres were on HBO.
Yeah.
And then there was a Fraggle Rock cartoon.
Oh
thing
yeah,
and all that.
that's totally a Miami Stadium. Our friend Abel from Miami Stadium,
The Funshine
he's
Festival?
a Miami historian. Talk about the Funshine Festival from Channel 33. I mean, that's one of those. If you're old enough, you know. Pero bueno, let's move on. Something I wanted to bring up this week, and this is sort of like a little another learn section of the show. So this week there was an ordinance, I believe it was passed in Miami Beach, that
About spring break?
they're going to outlaw balloons.
Oh no! Yes,
for
yes, I
balloons
saw that
to
one.
be
Yes, yeah.
released.
Yeah.
I'm not sure based on the bill if it's going to be like it's unlawful to release a certain amount of balloons, or you could release one balloon. But the point is, they're passing legislation that is going to prohibit, in mass especially, releasing balloons out into the air, especially in Miami Beach, because what goes up must come down, and a lot of these balloons, once they come down, not only are they falling in the water, but there's marine life, there's birds that come across these balloons,
Was
deflated
it
balloons,
starts fucking with everything.
and they die, they choke. So it has a profound impact on the environment, and it's a really big problem. And I actually saw, I learned about this on Only a Date. Actually, they posted that, and of course, back to the comments.
Yeah, back to what we were talking about.
People were making all these comments. And something that I wanted to bring up was, have you heard of Balloon Fest 86 in Cleveland, Ohio?
I did. I did, because I heard about it on a podcast.
Okay, so Balloon Fest 1986 in Cleveland, Ohio. Listen, listeners.
Yeah, this is a hell of a learn.
This sort of, the United Way was involved in this. They were doing some type of campaign or some type of fundraiser. Again, the United Way was involved in this, where they wanted to release 2 million balloons.
Yeah, it was to set a world record.
Right. 2 million balloons. They were only able to release 1.5 million balloons. So 1 let's think about that number.
That's a lot of latex.
1.5 million balloons.
To follow the Muppet.
They released the said balloons in downtown Cleveland. Remember, Cleveland is on a lake, so it's not like this is the ocean. It's on a lake, and I mean, it would have had the same impact if it was on the ocean. But so these balloons go out, and it was a total disaster because now, when these 1.5 million balloons went out, it messed up aviation airline patterns. It messed up signals. There was it messed up, I believe, phone signals or emergency signals which actually indirectly led to the death of two fishermen whose boat was turned over, and they were trying to call in for help and they couldn't because the balloons had blocked the signals,
the towers. Yeah.
In addition to the environmental impact and the marine life impact that it had, this was like a total disaster. And then the winds weren't favorable, so the balloons were kind of stuck.
Everything that could have gone wrong.
So then there was like a massive cleanup. Like, you know, my thing is about this. Like, listeners, look it up online. Balloon Fest 1986 Cleveland. There's a lot of pictures about it.
The podcast My Favorite Murder has an episode about it.
So my question is this: I realized that in 1986 there weren't the environmental concerns there are now, although there were.
But it was in 1922.
In the 80s, there were already things having to do with pollution and all that.
Give a hoot, don't pollute.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah. You know what? They're constantly talking about pollution in Que Pasa USA.
That's true.
Constantly, and that was the 70s.
That's true.
But so in the 80s, in the mid 80s, pollution was already an issue. Why and how did anybody think that releasing 1.5 million balloons at the same time, how that sounded like a good reason? Like, I'm just trying to like think of the thought process. You know, who was in that boardroom, in that meeting that said, you know what we should do for fundraising? We should release 1.5 million balloons at one time.
Well, first of all, I'm going to correct you because their thought was 2 million.
Right,
so
that's what I said.
They couldn't
it was 2 million, but they were only, I guess they ran out of balloons.
They ran out of balloons. They did. The only thing I can
think they probably caused the helium shortage that's
happening now.
Yes, that's happening now.
The only thing I can think of, and I know this is going to sound really stupid, but maybe they did not think of. Okay, go with me. They didn't think of when thinking of pollution, right? They were thinking more in terms of like smog and sludge. They kind of maybe weren't thinking, to your point, what goes up must come down type of a thing.
No, clearly they weren't thinking.
And then on top of that, all the other bullshit that happened. I mean, it's one of those things that sounded like a good idea, and then it very quickly got away from them, literally. Literally, it got away from them, and that's all I can think about because maybe they were like, "Oh, it's not pollution, that's a balloon." You know, it's not smog, it's not sludge, it's a balloon.
Right, it's not an oil spill.
Right. Again, I'm trying to give them a little bit of credit here.
You know, and Cleveland should have known better. Do you know what happened in Cleveland in 1971?
Is that the water?
So
we talked about it here.
Yeah, so the Water Act of 1972, I believe. So it's a federal legislation and act that it protects the waterways,
the Clean Water
and the Clean Water Act of 1972. And the reason why that was passed, so that was one of the first major pieces of legislation that was passed in order to protect, the environment. And the reason why that passed was because Cleveland sits on the Cuyahoga River. And the Cuyahoga River, like many rivers, especially in the Midwest, where a lot of plants and factories were located. Yep. So they would dump their waste in the river. And in the it was either 1969 or like 1970, the Cuyahoga River caught fire. Let me repeat that again. The river caught fire. And not only did it catch fire, it was on fire for like 2 days.
Yeah. It was not it
was on fire for like 2 days. Yeah. And it's not like a little patch was on fire. No. Like, I think miles of riverbank were on fire. And it caught fire, people.
Water caught fire.
The river caught fire. And, it was so polluted and it was such a problem that as a result of that, the federal government stepped in and passed the Clean Water Act of 1972, I believe, which led, to safeguards and protections and laws against pollution and regulating pollution in waterways. So, I feel that Cleveland didn't learn their lesson.
Cleveland may rock, but Cleveland also has a lot of environmental snafus.
But now, nowadays Cleveland is lovely.
Well, I would hope
I've been to
they
Cleveland several times when I lived in the Midwest, and I went a few years ago. Cleveland is really nice. Have you been to Cleveland?
I've never been to Cleveland. I've always wanted to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's not that great. I mean,
I feel it could be so much more.
It's just that it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so I want to go.
No. I've been to it several times.
Oh, okay.
And I feel it could be so much more.
Okay.
And I don't even have a problem with it being in Cleveland because a lot of people gave shit for it being in Cleveland. I don't have a problem with it being in Cleveland. I just feel that it could be bigger and nicer and it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
So you feel like it has more potential?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember the first time I went, they had floating in the main atrium lobby the Tremblants, which is a car from the Soviet Union that or from the Soviet bloc that U2 used on their Zoo TV tour in 1992. Because they actually did use the actual car as a prop, and it had the original neon Zoo TV sign. So the moment I walked in and saw that, I'm like, okay, that's good. I could leave now. I already got my money from admission from seeing the U2 exhibit, But yeah, so
you're good.
I'm good. And I remember that this was the first year I went, so this must have been 2003, 2000. No, it was 2003.
20 years ago.
They had a pop princess exhibit.
Oh wow!
So,
what a fun exhibit!
But thinking back on it, I was like, too soon.
Yeah, it was too soon.
I was like,
it was too soon.
They have an outfit of Mandy Moore in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, I mean, why not?
No, but I'm thinking too soon. But it was an exhibit. It wasn't that they were in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right, correct.
It was just an exhibit. Yeah. So
they should have that exhibit now.
Well, now it's been a while.
That's why. Let's see how far we've come. You know.
I have mixed feelings about that whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing because there's so many people who are not in it that should be.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they'll get there eventually. Is my theory.
Like Pat Benatar.
Yeah, isn't she?
I think she's not in it.
She
recently got in it.
Recently,
right,
her and her husband recently. Yeah.
Right. I mean, well, fucking
I think
bullshit.
It was, the same year as Dolly.
But I think recently, in the last 3 or 4 years.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think it was with Dolly.
Right. What fucking bullshit is that? That Pat Benatar, Pat Benatar, got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, Cher. I mean, you want to talk about iconic?
I mean, I'm gonna go team Pat Benatar here.
No. But I'm saying Pat Benatar is one, and we're talking about Cher, who's been around since the dinosaurs on the earth.
I would put Cher in because her or not, her music or not. I mean,
she's been around forever.
Yeah, she's an icon, a legend,
made her dent.
all that. Yeah. Whether you like her music or not. Yeah. Pat Benatar is great.
Pat Benatar is so underappreciated by the general public, I think.
I feel that Pat Benatar is, and listeners, if you don't know Pat Benatar, this is what we're talking about. Pat Benatar had so many hits in the 80s.
Yeah.
So many hits. That's I was having sort of an Instagram conversation the other day with a couple of people. You know who I think is there? That he's appreciated, but I think he should be more widespread appreciated is Phil Collins.
Is he in the Rock and Roll?
I don't know if he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
He should be. He should be.
But Phil Collins, for 10, 15 years, Phil Collins was on the radio every 20 seconds. And I mean, he had great songs.
Yeah. And if not him, you know what? At least Genesis should be in the Rock and Roll Hall
of
Fame.
One of my favorite songs ever is a Phil Collins. Can you guess it?
Hold on.
It's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Oh my God. I can't think of names of songs now. Just go, because it's going to... Go. Just do it.
How can you just walk away
That's what I was thinking of, and I couldn't think of the name of the song.
All I could do is watch you leave.
I was like, All or Nothing. I know it's not All or Nothing.
And you coming back to me.
Against the odds.
Against the odds. It's the odd I gotta take. Okay. That's such a good song.
Great song.
And Mariah's cover is pretty awesome, too.
It is.
Although, with that said, I don't like that song because Mariah Carey covered it. I like that. I've always liked that song, but that is a great song. But I feel that he's somebody that, if you're of a certain age, you know Phil Collins. If you know about music, you know Phil Collins. But I feel that the general populace should know more about Phil Collins. You know who I also feel that way about?
Yeah.
Is Stevie Nicks.
I think she's a little more appreciated than Phil Collins.
Yes and no.
I think Stevie Nicks has gotten her flowers,
I think
especially in recent years.
I think she has.
She got a Barbie doll, for Christ's sake.
Yes, but I think in terms of like general populace, like general,
I think she's more appreciated than Phil Collins. I would argue.
I feel more people need to know who she is.
No, I'm not saying that's not true, but I just think more people know Stevie Nicks
Because, like, for example, when Miley Cyrus came out with that song a few years ago,
yeah.
I bet you that most people did not know
that it was
a heavily not that it was a little sample. It was heavily sampled of Edge of 17.
I found a mashup of it. It's really good.
Oh no, it's great. It's so great. It's great. But even without the mashup, it is a sample.
Yeah.
And I feel that these are people that it's not even that they had a string of hits. It's like these are people that were like freaking legends, you know?
And they were, songwriters and musicians as well. They played their instruments. I mean, nobody can play a tambourine like Stevie Nicks while twirling. You try hitting a tambourine with that much fringe going around you.
He's an easy lover. He'll take my heart, but you won't feel it. Phil Collins, people, look him up. Phil
He was
Collins.
living down here at no sé
Phil
tanto.
Collins?
In Miami Beach. Hasta no sé tanto.
You know who I can't get into? I'm sorry. I can't get into them. And I know I'm going to piss off a lot of people from them. And I'm not taking anything away from them. I know they're popular. I know they're good. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I just can't get into them. Is ABBA.
Oh, I love ABBA.
It's just not my thing.
I love ABBA. I love ABBA for what they are.
Although that song of theirs has sort of grown on me. Gimme.
Gimme.
A man after midnight. When Madonna came out with Hung Up, I didn't know.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that was in it. I figured it was a sample from someone, but I didn't know. But that Dancing Queen song.
The thing with ABBA is that the voices, like it's the harmonies, it's the simplicity of the music, the lyrics. Like it's just, if you had to describe pop music in its simplest, purest form, that is what it would be.
That's why I'm not taking anything away from them. And that virtual concert they had, if they would have had that here, I would have totally gone. I would have totally gone, to be part of that whole thing. Yeah. I prefer Ace of Base.
So you prefer ABBA 2.0?
I prefer Ace of Base, but Ace of Base is of our time. But you know who loves ABBA? My mom.
Your mom? Oh. Put ABBA and Boney M on a bill together.
My mom loves the song Chiquitica.
Oh, that's a pretty song.
And Waterloo.
Waterloo?
I don't even know she thinks she knows what. Oh, no, I know she doesn't know what it's about.
You don't know. You don't know. Maybe your mother is reading about Napoleon while listening to Paris Hilton. You don't know.
I don't think so.
You don't know.
I don't think so. The greatest thing in the world is to have talk to my mom about light years.
The Kylie Minogue album?
No, Los Años de Luz.
Like actual light
years, yeah.
Like space travel.
I can't say that I do that all the time, but I've done it enough and I do it on purpose.
Wait, we're talking about like space travel.
Yes,
light
I'm
years.
like, mamá, porque tú sabes que whatever, está años de luz de ahí, de la Tierra. And she's like, ¿qué significa los años de luz? I'm like, es el tiempo de que la luz, I give her, because I'm not an expert on it either, an expert. She's like, ay, no, yo eso no lo entiendo. ¿Cómo que la luz viaja y lo que nosotros estamos viendo es algo que pasó hace 1 billón de años? Pero ¿cómo es eso? Eso es una estrella que hay ahí. And I'm like, no, but actually it's not. Ay, no, yo no entiendo. Ay, no, Daddy, no, yo no entiendo de eso. Yo no entiendo.
We need to figure out how to get your mother, how to trick her to be on the show.
Well, I would have to put which I did. I have a couple of times.
That's true.
They're well.
Yes.
I mean, one of our more popular videos has been her doing the sweet potato.
Yes, the boniato. The boniato casserole.
Which you had.
It is not good.
I didn't have it.
It was not good. No.
I didn't have it.
And, I wanted to like it because, sometimes, you fail upwards, right? Sometimes you mistakenly create something that tastes good.
How cookies work, chocolate chip cookies were invented, champagne.
Penicillin was an accident.
Right. No, this wasn't the case.
No.
We're not bottling up my mom's boniato casserole.
I think I would have rather had penicillin.
Oh, penicillina. Why does penicillina sound so much more like important in Spanish?
Penicillina sounds like a 5-piece pop band.
Penicillina. You're thinking about the Onda Vaselina, aren't you?
I totally am.
La Oreja de Van Gogh.
No, Oreja de Van Gogh is another thing, but I'm thinking of OV7. Oh Lord, I think this is as good a time as any to have our last
Is
sodas.
RBD still touring?
I don't. Maybe. Oh, that's a good question. I feel like they were on tour for like 2 years.
I just thought about something really stupid.
What? Oh Lord.
Many years
Same
ago,
here.
when RBD was like
Right,
really popular,
right.
I remember I was at my parents, and then, I think it was my father. I'm sorry, listeners. My father's like, I've never told you this.
I don't think so. No.
So I'll tell you and our
Yeah,
listeners at the same time. My father asks, ¿qué significa RBD? The band.
Right.
And I'm like, Regionales Bastardo de Guerrero. I just made that shit up. Like, that's like, I son de Guerrero, you know, in Mexico. And I'm like, sí. Los Regionales Bastardo de Guerrero. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know what I wonder now?
If he still thinks that's the
How long did my parents think that RBD meant? Como Regionales Bastardo de Guerrero.
Oh God, that's great.
Y soy rebelde.
I mean, I guess.
Cuando
I guess you know, if you're a rebel, that could make
because
sense.
you know, my parents clearly did not watch la novela
Rebelde, yeah.
You know, I think they were a little past the age
the
group.
target demo, yeah, they were
So
outside.
they're like, ¿qué rebelde? Los regionales bastardo de Guerrero.
Listeners, we just found the clip for this week's Instagram post. Hola, mi gente. Now, it is a new year. I know that means a lot of you out there are making these resolutions and, you know, trying to be healthier and trying to, you know, improve yourself and all of that. But it's also February and it's getting harder. So we are here we're partnering with Florida Dairy, and we've brought back our favorite sports dietitian, Tony Castillo. I mean, honestly, at this point, I think you might get a co-credit as a co-host. You've been on the show so many times. Welcome back, man. Happy New Year.
Ish, thank you so much for having me. Add me as co-host. I'd love to be on just to talk with you guys. You guys are always great. Love listening to your stuff. Happy New Year's. Tú sabes, felicidades a todos. And excited to talk about these resolutions, man. Do you have any resolutions for this year?
My only resolution is to not have resolutions. Because I feel like, you know, it's one of those things where every year we set out to make resolutions, right? And unfortunately, they start off with the best of intentions, but by the time January is ending, February is starting, we're all starting to fall off the resolution wagon, right? And so what are some of the reasons that happens in your experience?
Absolutely. So we always just lose motivation, right? It's tough to keep up with something that's not fitting into our schedule. So one thing we always talk about are SMART goals. So something that is S for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for realistic, and T, it has some sort of time. So most of the time people will say, I want to lose X amount of weight. Well, you're not giving yourself an end date. You're not giving yourself a time. You're not doing something that's sustainable, right? And one of the biggest mistakes I see is when we make these resolutions to lose X amount of weight or gain amount of muscles, whatever it is, when it talks about nutrition, is that we cut out some of our favorite foods. And one of the main things I see people do is cut out protein. Now, protein helps with muscle building. Protein helps us with feeling full, so that satiation factor. And one of my favorite things to do is add a glass of milk, because in each glass of milk, you have 8 grams of protein. It is budget friendly and easy to get. And of course, we speak about this every time, café con leche. That could be the perfect breakfast to not only keep us full, but keep us fueled for that breakfast time. And honestly, if I were to tell someone, if you want to lose X amount of weight in X amount of time, and all you have to do is make sure you have that café con leche every day for breakfast, we couldn't make it any easier, right?
Oh my! I think I would look like Kate Moss if that was if you told me that. That's like you can't encapsulate that anymore, but the beauty about milk is also that, like, to your point, you can have it all throughout the day. I mean, it's perfect for, it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's not something that you're like, oh, I don't want to eat that for breakfast, that's too heavy, and so that's the perfect way to get your protein throughout the day. Kind of shifting gears a little bit here. Now, I know one of the big resolutions everybody makes, right, is hitting the gym. It's something that I strive for. I try to get to the gym at least 4 times a week. It's not always easy, but what are some ways that dairy can help us with that, resolution? Just the recuperation, I think, right?
Absolutely. Like, if we're talking about going to the gym, that recovery piece is so important, because when we go to the gym and it's been a while that we haven't been, we're sore. We wake up, we don't want to go because we have that sore feeling. We can't get in that workout as good as we wanted to. So one of my favorite things to do post-workout is chocolate milk. Ooh. It has carbs to help our muscles refuel. It has protein to help our muscles repair. And finally, it has the hydration to rehydrate. So the 3 R's of recovery: refuel, repair, and rehydrate. Chocolate milk hits all 3. One, it's got the protein that we spoke about earlier to help with the muscle building and also keeping us full longer. It's got the carbs to give our muscles energy for that next day. And again, that hydration. If we're not staying hydrated, our muscles aren't going to look the way we need them to, and they're not going to perform the way we want. So if we want to feel better and actually stick to our workouts, adding chocolate milk tastes good, easy to add in. You don't need to have any mixers or anything. You literally just pour it in a cup and drink it and enjoy the rest of your day and feel better the next day.
It's so funny you mention that, because a lot of times people are like, oh, carbs are the enemy. But, if you're working out, carbs really are a necessity.
Yes, absolutely. The only 2 places in your body you can store carbs are your liver and your muscles. And if you just finish working out, you need to replenish that. So the best way is actually having that chocolate milk, having those carbs.
See, I love this conversation, because not only have you just told me carbs are good, which is, I mean, I'm gonna probably take that the wrong way. I know myself, but also, café con leche, chocolate milk. I mean, staying healthy and incorporating dairy doesn't have to be blah, right? There's so many ways to do it that's tasty and fun. Because I think a lot of times with resolutions, people think it's, oh, I have to make these rules and it's got to be very dour. But no, there's ways to spice it up, perk it up, which is what you're telling us, and I freaking love that.
Yeah, it's the only way we can make it work, Ish. If we try to make things that are going to be horrible and not work for us, these resolutions, these goals will never stick. And our goals are to make things sustainable and make it fun and make it healthy.
Well, I got to say, 2 things that always happen when we talk to you is that it's always fun. And the fact that you keep coming back means that it's sustainable, because definitely we love having you on. I mean, look,
love it, Ish.
I mean, thank you again for swinging by and giving us some helpful hints on how to make sure, or at least try to not have our resolutions, just peter out once, Valentine's Day rolls around, right? It's they're called love handles, but are they really? And obviously for more information, you can go to floridamilk.com or lechedeflorida.com. They've got more health tips there as well. But Tony, I again just want to thank you so much for swinging by. I mean, I'm only half joking when I say you should be a co-host, because I think you every time you swing by, you give us so much information, but you do it in a way that is so fantastically entertaining that honestly, bro, like, you should have your own podcast. I mean, I'm putting it out there for you. Get on it, man. What are you waiting for?
All right, Ish, you're going to be one of my first guests then. Once I start it, you got to come on. That's it.
All right. Careful what you wish for. All right. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Really, milk is the easiest way to incorporate into your diet, maintaining those New Year's resolutions. And you heard it from Tony, and he's a dietitian. He knows what he's talking about. All right, man. Thank you so much again for swinging by. Bueno, we're officially at that point where many of us have broken that resolution about eating better. Oye, no es fácil, mi gente. But you know what does make it easy to be healthier? Dairy, yeah, los productos lácteos. De leche a queso, even yogurt. Your favorite dairy products have calcium, protein, zinc, and riboflavin, which helps your body use carbs, fats, and protein for fuel. Plus, who doesn't love saying riboflavin? Incorporating dairy into your diet is so easy, you can do it year-round, not just for the new year. To learn more about all dairy's many health benefits, just visit floridamilk.com or lechedeflorida.com today. Okay, one more time. Riboflavin.
Wow. Anyway, okay, let's get to our last soda.
Oh,
before
Lordy,
throw up.
Yes.
So.
Oh, no, don't throw up.
All right. So, you want to go first? I'll go first?
You can go first.
So, since we're listening to this on February 1st, right? February 1st?
Second.
Today's February 1st?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, we're listening. Welcome. This episode is in February.
Yes.
It's Black History Month. So I wanted to give my last soda to a prominent Afro-Latino.
Okay.
Right? Combining the best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
So I actually want to give my last soda to, this is more like another learn part of the show, to Roberto Clemente. Because Roberto Clemente,
yes,
the
yes,
baseball player,
yes.
He was Puerto Rican. And I think a lot of people obviously know that he was a baseball player, but they don't maybe necessarily know how good of a baseball player he was. He was a 2-time World Series champion. He was, he had like an incredible batting average. He was a great ball player, but he was quite the philanthropist. Do you know how he died?
No.
So Roberto Clemente died in December of 1972.
Oh.
And he died because, again, he was Puerto Rican. He was not Nicaraguan he didn't have family in Nicaragua, but Nicaragua had just had a really bad earthquake. Oh. And there were different aids being sent to Nicaragua, and it wasn't getting there. So he actually went on a flight.
Like a charter?
It was a humanitarian aid flight to go help out the people who were, victims of the earthquake. Right. And so this was like a total humanitarian,
relief effort
that he was part of. And on the way over there, the plane fell. It fell in the ocean, and he died.
Shit.
So he died because he was helping people. And I think that...
Wow.
Again, people know how great of a baseball player he was, but they don't necessarily may not know the philanthropic, part of him. So I think it's very important for people to know that about him, because he was quite a good person when it came down to that. He caused such an impact that the Cooperstown, which is the Baseball Hall of Fame, the Cooperstown has very, very rigid metrics on how to get people into the Hall of Fame. They amended their rules to let somebody, I forgot what the rule was, but when they amended their rule, they allowed people who have died to be inducted into the Hall of Fame as little as 6 months after they passed away. So they amended that for him so he could be part of Cooperstown, part of the Baseball Hall of Fame. So within a year of him passing away, he was already there. So, I think he's somebody that deserves a lot of merit for both his philanthropic and professional accomplishments. So I wanted to shine a little light on that and to, let people know that, he was a good guy and celebrate him on... in Black History Month, and he was a proud Afro-Latino.
Yeah,
Boricua.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Roberto Clemente.
No,
Pittsburgh Pirates.
Again, I knew who he was. I didn't know how he passed. So
yeah. And in Pittsburgh, there's a bridge, the Roberto Clemente Bridge, which it's a backdrop to PNC Park where the Pittsburgh Pirates play. It's a beautiful, beautiful bridge. So a life cut short.
Yeah. So actually, it's funny you say that because originally I was kind of going to go the same route. Because of Black History Month, I figured let's spotlight Afro Latinos, but I changed that at the last minute because this week we saw that we had the death of Chita Rivera, another Puerto Rican. For those of you who don't know, Chita Rivera was a predominantly Broadway actress. At Puerto Rican, at the age of 19, she was part of the Balanchine School of Dance. And for those of you who don't know, George Balanchine is like the pinnacle was the pinnacle of ballet dance. And she was part of that school. Eventually, she went on to originate several roles in musicals that have become super famous. She was the original Anita in West Side Story, which Rita Moreno went on to win the Oscar, as did Ariana DeBose, playing that same role. She originated Velma Kelly in Chicago. She originated the Spider-Woman in Kiss of the Spider-Woman.
She was the first Velma in Chicago?
Because that had an original. Then the Chicago that we've seen now on Broadway is a revival. that's been running for years, but it's a revival. She was the original. I can't remember the name of the character, but in Bye Bye Birdie. So she originated a lot of these iconic musical roles. So much so, I mean, she was a Tony winner, but she was also the first Latina inducted into the Kennedy Center Honors.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So she passed away this week at the age of 91. You know, a long life, a life well lived. I mean, she was acting all the way up until the end. She was just recently in Lin-Manuel Miranda's film version of Tick Tick Boom. So again, just somebody who has made such an impact, and I saw it throughout the week. You know, several people like Andrea Burns and Ana Villafañe, who've been guests on our show, pay tribute to her because again, when you see yourself represented, now you believe that you also can achieve that dream.
Yeah.
And that's something that we see so often in all of the stories that we've covered up with our guests and just amongst ourselves. So she definitely, you know, deserves to be remembered and honored as the trailblazer that she was.
You know, I feel that she's somebody that also, in terms of her given her flowers, in terms of a wider spread populace, because I have to tell you, I mean, look, I know nothing about musicals and Broadway, so that's not something that I would know anyway. But I feel that I only heard of her for the first time, and I'm sort of ashamed to say this. Maybe like 2 years ago, she was on The View.
Yeah.
Very recently, within the last couple of years. And I remember, you know, Whoopi Goldberg was like losing her mind, like, oh my God. And they were all like goo guying over there. I'm like, why don't I know this woman? Right. And then when I started learning about her accolades and, you know, everything, all the, you know, doors she knocked down, I'm like, I'm pretty in touch with pop culture with that. And I didn't know who she was. Granted, yes, as I said, I don't know.
That's your blind spot is musical theater.
Musical theater. I don't know about that. But, you know, I know Rita Moreno. I know that Rita Moreno was in West Side Story. You know, I feel that like the general populace that is not into Broadway and all that, I feel like she's somebody that you should know because she was so important and legendary and did so many things. Because everything you said, I just learned about that recently. And I mean, it's not like, well, she was in one big thing. She was in a lot of things.
No, constantly. Yeah.
So,
a lot of these iconic, you know, musical theater roles. Yeah.
So life well lived.
Yes.
Yeah. Two good sodas this week.
Puerto Rican sodas.
Yeah, Puerto Rican soda. Ay, qué bueno estar ahora en Puerto Rico y comerse un mantecado.
Ay, qué rico. Can we do that when we're done recording?
Ay, un mofongo de chicharrones.
It's so yummy.
Yeah.
Why do you tell me these things? Like last week you were talking about, you know, hot fudge sundaes. Now you're talking about mofongo.
Yeah, mofongo de chicharrón. That shit is serious.
We can't get that at this time.
No, there's no fast food. There's no drive-through mofongo places in Miami. Like, I know, but I don't think that drive-through mofongo.
Mofongo to go?
Mofongo to go. Have you ever had a Puerto Rican pastel?
Yes, I have.
You know what I mean by pastel, right?
Yes, that they make them during the holidays.
Their pastel is very different than our pastel.
Yes. I had actually, there was somebody, when I was living up in New York, one of like the neighbors would make it for Rick and Joe.
Shit. Like,
it's involved.
It is like, I've tried to make, well, I haven't tried to make it. I've looked into making it. I'm like, oh my God, it's too much work.
It's a lot of work.
Because it's a lot of work. And I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right.
See,
you know?
don't half-ass it.
I'm going to go all the way.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work. I'm like, I never have time off. And then when I do, I'm like, me voy a poner a hacer pasteles puertorriqueños. You know?
No. That's the day to order pizza.
Yeah.
On your day off. Yeah.
That, I have to tell you, they are like number one on that. Like, in terms of Puerto Rican cuisine, because Puerto Rican cuisine and Cuban cuisine is very similar, but there's obviously differences, and those differences, like in mofongo, it's mofongo of like, I always say of the three plátanos, and when I mean the three plátanos, I mean the Cubans,
mofongo, fufu, and
the fufu de plátanos Cubans, el mango is the Dominican, and mofongo like beats the other two up, blows the other ones out of the water. I mean, we give it up to Puerto Rico.
I mean, we have to. You earned it, kids.
Oh yeah, who you're going for in the Super Bowl?
I don't care. Honestly, I want it to be over so I don't have to hear about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce anymore.
Okay. You're such a party pooper.
I'm so over the whole like Taylor Swift, and it's not her fault. It's not her fault, but I'm just so over it that I'm like, can we just fast forward to the halftime show and then pick a winner?
You're such a party pooper.
I mean, look, I'll go to the party.
Well, we are having a Super Bowl
That's what I'm
party.
saying. I'll go to the party and I'll have fun there.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we haven't advertised it yet, listeners. But if you want to put in your Ping Pong Pollo chicken wing order,
Yep.
we will be taking chicken wing orders for Super Bowl. You just have to go pick them up when we're doing our pop up that day.
Yeah.
But we will be taking orders.
Yes,
we have a
we
few
will.
orders already.
Yeah.
So you don't have.
No, I don't feel like I've invested this year in.
Okay, so who's playing the Super Bowl?
I know it's the Kansas people.
Yes.
And then, oh God, I know it's not Detroit because they lost to them. But
I wanted Detroit to win.
But that's who I have front of mind right now.
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
The 49ers.
There we go. Also, our friend must be very happy.
Yes, he was.
Well, no, she.
Oh, I was thinking of he. Oh, our other friend.
Our other friend, yeah.
No, I wanted Detroit to win.
Yeah.
I mean, I will always heart Michigan and
Yeah.
Detroit. But between the two, between Kansas and San Francisco, I'll probably go for Kansas.
Really? Mm-hmm. But they've already won twice.
So
Let somebody else
my
win.
favorite baseball team is the Yankees. Well, what are you
that's
saying
true.
by that?
That's true.
Like,
I'm appealing to the wrong person.
yeah. So anyway, bueno, everybody, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned. As always, remember to take your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. And thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Yes, cuídense, mi gente.
Bye, pero primos.
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.